I'm good. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here. I've been good. I mean, can't complain too much. Busy with school and work and everything, but other than that, it's been good. So the competitions haven't made too much of a change in what I was doing before. So in high school, it was kind of I've always lifted. So when I'm training for a competition, it's kind of more of I may be spending 2 hours a week more than normal training, but it's really not too much of a change from what I was used to. But the school load changed a little bit, so I kind of just decreased my work, like actual work, my job at my job, and kind of adjusted with the school schedule as that went. But it's been pretty good. Not too hard to go into because my first semester was online, so it's been pretty good. No, that's a good one. Probably that because I mean I think one of the biggest things I've been chasing so far in my life is goals and like competitions and stuff like that, and trying to be the best at what I'm doing, or whether that's lifting or working or whatever the case is. I'm pretty competitive in that aspect. So I would say just it's important to be competitive with what you're doing, but to be humble in that and also remember that there's always going to be someone like you're never going to be like the best. That does sound like kind of like sad to say because it's kind of more of a thing where everybody, if you're really excelling in something and putting in all the efforts you want to put in something, like you want to be the absolute top, but at the end of the day there's always somebody that might be a little bit better or just has better genetics and stuff. This kind of applies more to lifting, but as far as a life in general, I would say just I don't think anything in life's really gonna make you happy unless it's like centered around God. Is what I would give. But so yeah, I mean, I would say for me mainly the one thing that just keeps me going is that uh, just that strive to be better than I was. Because at the end of the day, like I don't think the majority of people are never going to be at that top level of anything. And I am sort of in that group, but I would kind of describe myself that I'm more competing against myself than other people. So I don't really put it as much a perspective of, oh, let me beat this person or beat this one at this one. I'm just trying to improve from where I was yesterday or the day before that. And a big part of that is also that I just enjoy it. So it's not like if it was a chore to me, I don't think I would be like doing it for as long, have been doing it for as long as I have. So I think that's one of the biggest things is just self-improvement and beating the person you were the other day. So the biggest thing that started for me was Wyatt's always he has not as much lately, but he's the one that kind of got me into the whole thing. Wyatt is my older brother, and he's about 2 years older than me. And he had lifted for probably a couple of years, kind of doing more like calisthenics type stuff, but also some lifting. And I was kind of just not really interested in exercising at all or anything like that. And he had actually found a like a bench press set in someone's trash, which is funny to say, but he found it somebody's trash and put it on our patio. And I was 12 at the time, and I was just like lifting with him one day. We're just trying to see how much we could bench press. I think I benched like 100 pounds or whatever when I was like 12 or something. I was also a little bit of a chubbier younger kid. I was probably closer to like 160, 170, and was probably only 5'4", 5, something like that when I was like 12. So I was a little bit on the heavier side as well. So it kind of just made me be like, okay, I kind of need to stop just, I mean, it sounds dumb, but stop eating so much. It kind of just progressed my energy towards something else because I wasn't doing any sports or anything like that. So it was just a good hobby for me to start. And I just basically, I mean, it started slow, but I just haven't really stopped since then. And once I got into like actually competing in, I think it was my sophomore year of high school, that's when it really started to pick up and get more interesting for me. But yeah, so I mean, I would say for me, it's never really been about maybe when I was starting, and maybe it was more of a focus of looking a certain way or gaining a certain amount of muscle. But I would say over the past, I guess, about 3 to 4 years now, that's kind of just been the main goal, is just gaining as much strength as I can while still trying to gain muscle and put on weight in certain areas. But I think the strength aspect has helped because it's not, I've never really been chasing after like more of like a bodybuilding type physique where basically everything you do is, how is this going to change the way I look, and how can I improve, get my waist thinner, my biceps bigger, and this kind of stuff. I think that's where it sometimes can get into a place where it's either not healthy or a little bit too down on yourself, because you tend to develop more of like some eating disorders come out of that, and also just some body image issues. So I think chasing after that strength aspect has helped me the most. But I would say as far as God goes, I think just honoring, I found a way that I think I can honor him through my lifting because the people around me know of my beliefs. So I think I can just be a good example through that is what I would say. So what I eat's actually like super basic, I would say, and is really not very strict. It does vary more when I'm training for competitions, like the 12 weeks up to a meet. They're normally a little bit different as far as protein intake and that kind of stuff. But normally, I would say my day generally consists of like eggs and some sort of carb in the morning, whether it's like a bagel or toast or whatever, along with fruit. And then I'll go, normally that's my pre-workout meal because I'll go to the gym right after that. Normally, as far as supplements, it's really just pre-workout and creatine. Um, Sometimes I'll mix like protein powder in with like oatmeal, but I'm not a huge fan of just the shakes. So normally I'll just go without that. But as far as once I'm done lifting, I'll normally have either it's another meal of chicken or like some sort of protein bar. And then lunch is pretty basic as well. Normally it's type of meat with rice. Generally it's beef or chicken. And then dinner's normally another beef or chicken with like potatoes or something like that, with obviously like vegetables mixed throughout the day. So I used to not, but I would say in the past 5-ish months, I've started implementing it more just because when I would be like only like powerlifting and stuff like that, I kind of just noticed myself getting a little slow and stuff like that. So I kind of realized it made me feel better to do cardio, whether it's not very beneficial for my actual lifts. Well, it's not beneficial for my lifts, but which is why I wasn't doing it. But I've started doing it now about 3 times a week. So normally I'll do like a nothing like crazy, but I'll do like this past week. One of the days I just did like 15-20 minutes jump rope, and then another day I did like probably like 15 minutes of like on and off sprints, and then yesterday it was just like some incline treadmill, like light stuff. So it's nothing like crazy because I'm not training for that, but it just helps me keep healthy and in a pretty good state of mind. So yeah, I would say for the first question, like first, it's kind of I always have had a harder time. Like if I could be as disciplined in the gym as I was with my Bible reading, I think I would have a better relationship with God. And that's like a sad thing to say, but I mean that is something that I've been like trying to progress and work on. But I think the biggest thing with having a good relationship with God is a routine. So I've been trying to find what works best, but so far it's been just mornings have been the best time to get in the Word and read, and even having I have a group of friends that kind of helps keep me accountable as well, and we keep each other accountable for doing our like reading and stuff that week. So I think that's very important, having a set time and people around you to keep you accountable. But as far as my upbringing, it's been very I've been very blessed as a child. I grew up in a Christian home. Moved around a little bit when I was younger. I was born in Louisiana, and then we moved to Alabama, and then I've been down here for about 11 years. But always been plugged into a church. Very Christian parents that brought me up as well. So just I mean pretty not basic, but very um, just very biblical upbringing, I would say. I mean, I would say after graduating high school or just in general. Yeah, I mean, I would say I've always had a good relationship with God, but I've definitely had those seasons of it. I mean, I think as we're younger, it's kind of not the case with everyone, but I would definitely say that I never really took a ton of time to actually get in the Word by myself without just going to church and stuff like that when I was like a younger, so like under 15. But once I turned like 15, 16, I actually started to get more plugged in and really start reading on my own and having those devotionals that I should have been having for a long time before that. So I think that was kind of more of a turning point in my life. But I think after I graduated, nothing's really changed for me too much. I've been lucky. I've been able to stay in the same friend circle and church. Didn't really have to move anywhere just because I'm going to a local college and staying at home. But so that's been good. Nothing's changed too much with my relationship with God. Just more of a trying to figure out like where He's leading me and where what I need to be doing just in life in general. Because you're kind of thinking more long term now that out of high school and going college and stuff like that. Yeah, definitely. I mean, same here. It's great to have you as one of my friends as well. Really appreciate that. I don't think, I mean, there's no one else really, I would say, in my life that I've been friends with that long. So it's great. Yes, I mean it's been like tougher lately, I would say, but because the biggest thing I still need to keep working on is my relationship with God, because all those other things can kind of like fall into place after, or at least that's how it should be. But I mean, I need to make sure that that is my number one priority. That's the first thing I'm doing every day, and then all those other things can kind of fall in line and obviously rank in importance after that. So that number one needs to be the most important thing. But I would say just routine. I mean, work is. I'm lucky that I'm able to. I've been with this company for the past couple of years, and I'm actually able to kind of make my own schedule, which has been nice and it's worked well with school. So I've kept the same schedule for since the start of fall. So that's kind of nice to be able to just set that routine and then know in my head, okay, I need to get the gym 5 times this week. I'm going Monday, Tuesday, I'll rest Wednesday, and then I'll go Thursday, Friday, Saturday before work or whatever the case is, or in between classes or whatever the case may be. And then just routine, I would say, is the best way to balance everything. Because if you just told me this week, hey, you have to be at work at this time, and classes are different, and you can't go to the gym then, and you have to do this another time. It just wouldn't work. There's no way I'd be able to fit in everything and still just keep my sanity. So I think just having a good routine that you can stick to is the only way to balance everything. So I would tell them to prioritize compound movements and prioritize protein and sleep, and not really just protein from protein powder or whatever, because it's still protein, but it's just not as good for you. It doesn't have the same vitamins and stuff as like real meats. So I would say try to eat, I would say 0.75 times your body weight times 0.75, and then try to eat whatever that is in protein. So like let's say I weigh 200 pounds, which is around what I weigh, and that times 0.75 is 150. So I mean, ideally, I would like to shoot for over 150 grams of protein in a day. Um, and then as far as the lifting goes, just bench, squat, deadlift, overhead press is definitely going to be your friends because they're going to bent over row as well. They're going to pack on the most muscle because they're hitting the most muscle groups. So I would also shoot to train each body part twice a week. and kind of make sure that you're not like lacking in any spots. Because I mean, it's going to be more fun to train chest and arms 3 times a week and then do legs once a week and back once a week. But at the end of the day, you're going to end up with imbalances, and it's not going to be better for you long term, and you're not going to make as much progress. So I would say just starting off with 3 full body workouts a week. So just kind of incorporating like bench press and overhead press, bench press and overhead like shoulder press, and then maybe some back work, and then finish that with some squats or whatever the case is, and kind of incorporate those 3, incorporate doing that 3 times a week. And once you're able to do that consistently, kind of just moving on to maybe a different 4-day-a-week split, whether that's like back and chest, and then legs, and then chest and shoulders, and then legs again, or whatever the case is. But I would just make sure they're prioritizing the compound lifts and just making sure they're eating plenty of food, because that's the biggest thing. Is you see a lot of guys that are just complaining about gaining weight and doing this and doing that, and it is harder for some people. But at the end of the day, it's just most of the time you can find an error and be like, oh, okay, well, did you eat breakfast this morning? They're like, oh, well, I don't like to eat breakfast. And I'm like, well, there's a third of your calories. So, I mean, it's just keeping yourself accountable, I think, is also the biggest thing. No Snapchat. I guess I'll throw the Instagram out there. My main account is, I believe it's Eli _McDaniel. And then if you want to check out my lifting and kind of my powerlifting type journey and how I'm shooting for different records, missing some, breaking some, kind of just moving up in that space, it's a drug-free _ since drug-free _ since 03, I believe. I want to pull it up just so I make sure I have the right count.
Yeah, you're good. We'll make sure to
There we
have
go.
it all under
Drug-free _ since _ 03. So if you want to check that out, I'm relatively active. So yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I'm glad to be able to talk to you.